Hello everyone and welcome back for week 7 of English 1510 online asynchronous at OCC, Open Community College. Again, asynchronous meaning that you guys are doing this on your own and your pace at the class, in the class timeline. I want to reiterate here, this is starting to look like there are some students who really were not prepared for an online class. There are some things still dealing with these intermittent connection issues, but most of the things on the student end, and this is something I'm trying to resolve as fast as possible, folks. I put in 3 more work orders last week on Thursday and Friday with technology department to try and get these things fixed so that I can get the rest of those up. But still make sure that you got your submissions in. If any student in the class right now did not submit the final draft of the memoir, make sure that you do. I'm not going to open the Dropbox back up. Those are still listed as being due on the 29th, and I kept it that way. I did have a good number of the students with things back on those. Obviously, it's not going to be the case with everyone, but I take that into consideration when the final grading takes place this week. Now, I'll be going through final drafts on those, posting the rest of those grades, and everyone will then get a 2-week window to rewrite the memoir final draft, okay? With rhetorical analysis that we just started, I got summary and outlines. I only got summary and outlines from 16 or 17 people. So there are still 24 on roster in this course. So it's problematic that I got a number of students that just did nothing with it. That was supposed to be the Dropbox from last week. Open it up, download that template, going through rhetorical analysis on those, and making sure that you were picking a video from YouTube, something that I could have the add to. I want to make one quick announcement about this with the internet and connection issues. I've been trying to do this with the grades for weeks and weeks now, and every time I go into the platform, there's some other issue with loading the grades. This has been a problem for about 2 years off and on. We thought that it was resolved at the beginning of the term. On my end here with the grading files, it simply is not. The grading files don't stay up after I've posted. And when I go in to use the actual files, it doesn't show the correction. So I am hoping that this is resolved this week so that we don't have any other issues. And I've been told I finally had a person actually come in and work on it in the classroom with some of the H drive things and issues that we're experiencing. And they actually did get resolved in person in real time. So hopefully this actually is being addressed now for not just you guys, but the faculty as well. I wanted to note that I did have a confirmation of one student that didn't actually have access. That doesn't appear to be the case in this course, the 1235 section. This class, as far as I can tell, on everyone's files and everything else, you're able to access and submit on the different file postings. I do have a face-to-face student and then one other student in a different class where there's something that happened with their accounts that got reset at the start of term, and so there was no connectivity between their linked account and what they were submitting. So they were submitting and getting receipts, but not actually showing that they went into the files for us. So I will post commentary and feedback as soon as I can. There's little I can do with those. Just make sure you note, I will take it into consideration on that final grading, and of course everyone gets to do a rewrite on those memoirs. Now, everyone who did submit a rhetorical analysis summary and outline, you now this week are moving on into both the peer review and drafting stage. I left this announcement up. I will leave it up for this week so people are clear about what was going on there. With this week 7 overview, there were minor changes in that rhetorical analysis summary outline Dropbox. I'm leaving that comment up there after week 6. Make sure that you guys reviewed that content and you actually downloaded my templates. I'll switch to a student view momentarily here so that we can see exactly the same thing. Note the dates on this. Right now we are at October 30th. You don't have a draft due this week. Again, this is going to be a drafting and waiting for grade stuff feedback, and then posting your draft both into a Dropbox by the 12th and also into the rhetorical analysis discussion board by that date. So you'll have that posted up on there, and then the assignment schedule. If you did go through this for the rhetorical analysis summary outline last week, which was due on the 29th, I had some students who actually did not access the file. Like I said, I got 16, 17 out of a class of 24 still. Everyone is supposed to be using a YouTube ad, watching this video, doing the reading out of the book, and then also using this template, following this rubric and using this template. You got a student sample paper, you got an example of charting devices, you got a number of descriptions and analysis and explanations that are broken down into all this instruction here. The template here you were supposed to download. You're supposed to fill this out with the content information that was focused on the ad that you had picked, writing the summary here, right? Giving me the title of your ad, giving me the direct link to your ad, a brief summary here, and then giving me the general specific your topic thesis framing, followed by a topic sentence here of the first rhetorical device, and then at least 6 full sentence details in the breakdown below, giving me examples explaining the rhetorical concepts being used in rhetorical devices, right? So remember, there's a difference between a rhetorical device and a rhetorical concept. Rhetorical devices are like imagery or music or celebrity spokesperson or voiceover narration, where logos, ethos, and pathos are rhetorical concepts that use rhetorical devices to spread their message. So remember, guys, make sure that you're doing this and following along correctly. I can't say enough with these that it only helps if you guys are keeping up with the same content at the same time and are actually following the directions. If you're doing this in an online class, then you've agreed yourself that the online class is where you want to be with those. I want to reiterate this policy on here. In every one of my online classes, I've only had 2 experiences face-to-face this semester with anything ChatGPT or generative AI. All the rest, which are really adding up, all the rest were in my online sections. Students take online classes at times not because they actually think they can keep up this work, but they think they can get away with more. That I don't want to have a class that's run like that. So at this time, I had you guys continue with those final submissions. With the abundance of these issues on there, I've had to also go back through and do an additional screening process. I also received emails from a couple of students who were talking about their zeros in these categories. I'm not corresponding with you via email. The communication for this class since the beginning of the semester has been noted up here to be instant messaging in the class form only. I will communicate with you via email if and when we determine that's necessary because of some other communication that that's taken place here. That is my course policy. It's in the syllabus. It was stated week 1. It was stated before the opening of class, before with their pre-term postings. It was in week 1. It was in week 2. It's in the syllabus. It's in the content. You had to sign academic honesty forms. All these things. Okay. This was communicated to students from the start of term. Some of you simply do not follow directions. Okay. I'm not answering those emails. Not a single one of them was correct to begin with. You need to communicate with me through here as instructed. Now, for this week on what is due, you do want to start into the Rhetorical Analysis Discussion Board 3. This is opening today at 6 p.m. and it will remain open until the 13th of November. Now, I'm not making a distinction anymore about when you need to post and when you need to review. You post as soon as you're ready to post, and when you see another classmate in there, you review them. But in order to get credit for these, all students must both have posted a draft to the Dropbox and given a thorough review of at least one classmate's by the 13th, by the 11:30 p.m. at 13 November of 2023. With the rough draft, that's not due this weekend. It's not due the weekend coming up following Halloween. It's due the weekend after that on the 12th. That's why I have this staggered on November 13th. You have it here on the 12th for the rough draft that'll be due this week for week 8. And then the day after that, that final posting of Rhetorical Analysis Discussion Board is due. So that will be reiterated there as well. I do not have new readings for you guys that you have to cover this week. As long as you've done the textbook reading up to this point, you should be okay. Next week, you're going to have a couple more chapters that are added in. And there are also going to be some peer-reviewed research articles that I'm going to put in there for you guys to review as you're starting to work on your research. Next week, note also, you're going to start having videos that you watch that kind of take you through research and citation and things at the library. All right? I look forward to seeing the rest of the work. For those of you who have gotten everything in and you've been on time and on point with these things, good job. I did extend the diagnostic rewrite until the 19th so that everybody had the time they needed to do a revised version of that and resubmit it. Remember, as long as you resubmit here by that date, I will review them between then and the end of the semester and add back points if you did actually make those corrections. I only have 2 students that I've received anything for tutoring for the semester. Remember, for those of you who do not do this, it is 1 required for everyone, and then I made tutoring recommendations further on your diagnostics. I've only had a few students in any of my classes except for my face-to-face ones actually doing this. Just remember that this is not something that's optional. The 1 everyone has to do. At least 1. It's required for the course. If you don't do it by the end of the semester, then at the end of the semester, I do a deduction out of your academic attendance and performance for the class. All right? I look forward to seeing that work, guys, and good luck in the weeks ahead. I hope everybody has a safe and happy Halloween.